Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to do another character review for you guys. This one has been highly asked for, highly called for, highly requested. That's the word I'm looking for, requested. And so I wanted to do it. But just a little bit of a backstory, guys. I actually did do this review about a week and a half ago, around the time before the Doctor Strange patch dropped. And then I couldn't find time to release it because of other things that I wanted to talk about that came up in the meantime. And then Doctor Strange hit, and then I had basically no room to fit this in whatsoever. But the dust has settled. The update has kind of cooled off a little bit. Don't worry, we're still gonna get other character updates coming in soon and other character reviews soon for the new ones. But in the meantime, guys, who am I talking about? Of course, it's Elsa. So what I'm saying is, originally I did do a review for Elsa actually before she got her tier 2, before I gave her tier 2. At that time, about a week and a half ago, before the new Extreme Alliance Battle Mode changes, I didn't need Elsa at tier 2. I did tier 2 her purely because she works for the Alliance Extreme Mode when it's AB, when it's Speed Heroes, this day right here. And she's much more effective than Ant-Man, who I also have tier 2, and she's a little bit safer to use than Agent 13. So that's why I did that, guys. So I will be bouncing around a little bit during this review to show clips from my other review when she was tier 1, just so you guys can have a better comparison of how the character plays, especially against things like world bosses, because Elsa's an interesting character. With her tier 1 status, she's an okay world boss like fighter or world boss clearer, but you need to play with her very carefully, kind of like Ant-Man tier 1 or Moon Knight tier 1. But then when you get that tier 2, it turns into just like a riot fest. It's basically like a fuck fest. So you'll be able to see that in full swing a little bit later on, guys, so don't get confused. So here we go with Elsa Bloodstone. Let's check out the gears. We want to go with physical attack all the way through, of course, with only % on the first one, but I should probably roll that 46 a little bit closer to 52, which is the range that it has offered to me, but I'm very low on gold, guys, so I cannot do that at the moment. Then we got the second stat here. Of course, we want all defense and then either physical or energy by level on the first. HP, very straightforward, guys. On the first one, on the second one there that I have 98, you can also roll for %. I believe if you get over 83 or 84, 183 or 184%, it's higher than the max that you can get from the roll, which is 112. So keep that in mind. There is some optimization to be had there. And then on the last stat, I went with defense. Sorry, not defense cooldown. I was going to say defense cooldown, I swear. You want to go with skill cooldown just because you want Elsa to be able to do her 6-star skill as many times as possible, whether she's tier 1 or tier 2. So see there, I'm only at 33%, and I have all of the investments made into skill cooldown. She doesn't have any skill cooldown native on any of her gears, so you're going to want to roll that as her 4th stat, unless you get an ISO set that gives skill cooldown, which I don't have. So if you had an ISO set like Hawkeye or Hawk's Eye that gives 8% about, then you could probably invest in some defense penetration. I don't. I have Power of Angry Hulk for the defense penetration % itself. So you basically choose what you want. Do you want the max cooldown and then you want to have less defense penetration, or do you want to have less than max cooldown but you want to have more defense penetration? I went with more defense penetration, but it's arguable, guys. Either way, you want to go for an attack set on Elsa. She's not, you know, at tier 1, she's not sort of like safe enough to warrant a healing set. She's gonna get 1 or 2 shotted anyway, so the heals are not gonna come up often enough to be relevant, to be important, to be effective. One could make an argument for something like drastic density enhancement, which is an HP shield. The reason for that being is that Elsa has high dodge as a speed character, and she has a lot of movement skills, so she might be able to avoid enough attacks, but then get those few attacks blocked by the HP shield to warrant using drastic density enhancement, but that's only at tier 1. Once you get to tier 2 Elsa, you absolutely must have an attack set, an attack ISO set, because Elsa's got so much survivability at tier 2. So let's talk about that now, guys. At tier 1, her skills, we're going to check them out here in the preview. At tier 1, her skills are pretty straightforward. She's got a lot of movement on her skills. And then her 6-star skill is the bread and butter. Sorry I haven't made this disclaimer already in the video, guys, but just to be clear, I am assuming, and I have been assuming, and I will continue to assume that you have the uniform for Elsa. If you don't have Elsa's uniform, just go and buy it. If you have any interest in investing in this character, you must get the uniform. It's not even a question, okay? This is probably one of the best, if not the best uniform in the game for any one character. And so maybe Doctor Strange takes the cake now, but whatever. And so I'm just going to continue to do the review, assuming you have the uniform. I'm not going to compare the uniform against non-uniform, because it's like comparing, you know, cheesecake and the juice that leaks out of the garbage bag in your dumpster. So whatever. So let's check out her skills, guys. Her 1-star skill has a movement plus 2 hits there. You probably want to interrupt after the first hit because there's a long pause before the second one, but it does have some good movement to get you kind of around someone in a bit of a semicircle. So like Thanos's beams or whatever. Pretty cool. Her 2-star skill has a guard break there with the baseball bat coming out, and it's got a cool animation, and it's a very fast trigger for the animation. So you can interrupt very easily in Shadowland, Villain Siege, stuff like that. I don't know why they're all in the corner. Anyways, guys, her 3-star skill has a lot of movement. I love this skill. She basically does this wicked upside down fucking gymnast shit, Maddie Gelsinger or whatever, and she does a lot of hits and pretty decent damage. I use the 3-star skill in conjunction with the 6-star skill to get out of the way of harm, especially when meteors are coming down in my direction, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Then Elsa's 5-star skill, the number 4. It's pretty bad because it leaves her vulnerable. It's not an iframe skill at all, despite what you might think. So she does get hit a lot when she's using it. I usually don't use this skill at all until I was tier 2, and then I had the opportunity to do so because of the immunity on her 5 skill, her 6-star skill. So let's see that one more time. She does like a hit up, and then she juggles the opponent. It's really cool looking, but it just doesn't have a lot of utility because she's stationary and vulnerable for so long. Then we have Elsa's 6-star skill. This is the, you know, the top of the pops here. This is the fucking, this is the sledgehammer, guys. She charges up the bloodstone, and then she just unleashes it. You know, all the period blood just all over everybody. This is a, you know, this is a feminist's wet dream here. The damage is insane. It's a fast skill. It triggers very quickly. It doesn't leave her vulnerable for very long, about a second, and I like to do it like this. I get the 6-star skill in, and then I immediately 3-star to get some distance on whatever is attacking me. She'll still get hit a little bit at tier 1 when you do this skill, but hopefully if you've geared her properly, she'll kill the enemies before they hit her too many times, especially in alliance battle mode. Now if you're tier 2, if you can see up in the top right hand corner, or top left hand corner actually, when Elsa is tier 2 and you trigger her 6-star skill, she's going to trigger 5 seconds of damage immunity. That's undebuffable immunity, and that's for 5 seconds. The skill is on a 14-second cooldown, I believe. So you can get that down to 7 seconds with max skill cooldown. No, 13 seconds. So you can get it down to 6.5 seconds. So you're basically vulnerable for 1.5 seconds if you're playing on manual, which is extremely useful, and that's why I stressed so much to have an attack ISO set on Elsa once you have her tier 2, because she can be basically almost totally immune to damage if you play well enough and you trigger her 6-star skill enough and you have enough skill cooldown. So that's kind of what you get from tier 1 to tier 2. It's a huge jump in survivability, very much like Ant-Man and Moon Knight, except in my opinion better, because she has way more damage. She does way more base damage than both Ant-Man and Moon Knight. She's definitely the highest DPS speed character that we have in the game. So also take that into consideration, guys. Lastly, we do have obelisks. This obelisk is not it's not bad. It could be better. I don't know the argument for an invincibility obelisk per se. It might be good in PvP, but probably in PvE, in like you know, when you're playing against the AI, it's probably not so useful. So you probably want to go for something like defense penetration and healing. so that's probably going to shore up all of the characters' weaknesses, so to speak, but she doesn't really have that many weaknesses. Of course, the HP recovery is very low because I don't have any recovery synergy. Maybe this obelisk would be perfect if it was defense penetration, recovery rate, and the HP trigger, but the stun resist is very nice for Shadowland, and it will be nice in certain stages of Extreme Alliance battle if the Frost Beast has a stun effect on hit, which now we know the Frost Beast does have that sometimes. So you want to go for something that increases her damage, either something like crit rate or something like defense penetration. Defense penetration is very premium. I know they're not easy to get those obelisks, but if you can, definitely put one on your Elsa at tier 2. At tier 1, it's a different story. You probably want to go with HP recovery on a proc and recovery rate as a first orange skill, just because she doesn't have any recovery and she's vulnerable at tier 1. So that's it for the character itself, guys. We're going to take her into a couple of modes now. We're going to go into World Boss at Tier 2, but first I want to show you the World Boss Tier 1 clear, sort of, so you guys can get a feel for how I played with her at Tier 1 and how effective she was at Tier 1 without her immunity. So check that out, guys. So let's check this out, guys. So with your tier 1 Elsa, you have to be very, very careful. You do definitely have to learn the attack patterns, but as you guys can see there, it did almost 100,000 damage, which is pretty crazy. But as you guys will see, if you don't get out of the way fast enough, you will get punished very quickly for your mistakes. So I'm actually just using Moon Knight to dodge. Here we're gonna crack his shield probably on the first go. Yeah, that was fucking insane. As you guys can see, we're just gonna get a little bit of physical DPS in there, although it doesn't do that much damage. But you guys can see she cracked his shield real fucking quick. Oh, I'm in a bad spot. Yep, that's what happens, guys. So you do have to be very careful. I'm getting punished a lot right now. My Elsa's at less than half health. I'm probably not going to be able to clear with her just because I'm not playing in a super safe way. It probably would have been better to also have Groot maybe instead of Moon Knight if I was really going for the only Elsa setup here. But that's okay. Wow, it's like 150,000 damage. That's a lot. So you guys can see there, if you play Possum, that was 200,000. That was fucking a lot. Holy shit. I might actually be able to clear it with her, especially if Moon Knight takes enough hits. I'm gonna try to not attack at all with these other characters. I'm gonna dodge the roar there. The roar will probably take us out in one shot, but as you guys can see, we take out his shield in one shot. I wanted to get another hit in, but I wasn't able to. This third phase is going to be very, very difficult for Elsa to get any attacks off in, just because he does a lot of this spin to win bullshit, and it's just like fucked up. Or he does this like pull in, which is like so bullshit. Here we go with the spin to win. Trying to switch. We're gonna get one hit in here. Yeah. Okay, so we lost Elsa there. Guys, tier 1 Elsa, again, very difficult to clear all the way through. I would have had maybe an easier time if I had used Groot to help her heal up again. I guess if I had had an attack or a heal ISO set, it might have helped a little bit, but even still, she can die, and I actually might die here. She can still die to just one hit because her defense is still low because she's a speed character. So it's not really recommended. It's better to just maximize what she does best and, you know, just hope for the best and hope you can get those hits in before, and basically kill them before they kill you. That's kind of the idea here. So we're just trying to clear this one out. But as you guys can see, Elsa did the vast majority of the damage. She did about, you know, 1.3 million damage, and that was just almost exclusively using her 6-star skill. She cracked his shield in one shot with the 6-star skill, and that's where Elsa is so useful, because even though she's a physical character, she's got a physical damage increased leadership. Because she's got the energy damage on the 6-star skill, it makes the character so much more versatile, and that intentional change by Netmarble is a very, very excellent one. to make the character like way better, because otherwise she would have been a lot worse without that. So there you have it, guys. We're gonna go now in and compare that and contrast that with the tier 2. We're gonna do the exact same team as a setup here, and this time we're not gonna have any strikers, just to make things as you know, scientific as possible, guys. We're trying to get the real stats here, the real the numbers game. So the good thing about Elsa when she's tier 2 obviously is she's immune to damage. I can just sit here and use all my skills against Black Dwarf. Of course I have to watch the cooldown so I don't get caught, so there is still a little bit of running around and maneuvering, but other than that, guys, it's pretty much the same strategy. Unfortunately, I won't be able to clear his shield before he blasts, so I'm gonna have to switch. Otherwise I would have lost my Elsa. That's a bit unfortunate, but that's okay. We're just going to kite this guy a little bit and then switch back to Elsa. We're actually gonna buff Elsa up just to see how much damage she can do, and that's nice. That was about 150,000 damage, and we're on to the second phase. Pretty good stuff. And yeah, with the tier 2, you can just basically face tank. It doesn't add a lot of damage to her, and it does leave you vulnerable at times like that, but you just have to be a little bit careful and kind of run away when you get down to 2 seconds. That's basically what I found works the best. It kind of sucks that he dodged my 6-star skill there. And it's also difficult to trigger Elsa's 6-star skill as a team up, because she doesn't actually have any team up bonuses where her 6-star skill is triggered all the time. So it's kind of based on distance. It's a bit finicky, I would say. He's doing a lot of annoying moves to dodge me. If I had strikers, I could probably crack his shield initially. So because I can't wait for the cooldown. Oh. I probably could have done it there. That was dumb. I definitely could have done it there. I did have a window of opportunity, but I kind of goofed up and got a switch there. I kind of goofed up and I triggered the switch too fast. That was unfortunate. So we can get some pot shots in here because we know we're going to trigger the 6-star skill and have the immunity afterwards anyways. We're into the last phase here. This is going to be very difficult to clear with Elsa anyways. Just because I do have to do a lot of kiting, and if he goes into spin to win mode too much, I won't have a chance to recover. And also if he does this and one-shots me, I'm also going to be dead too. The good thing is he's only going to last about 2 more attacks from me, so I don't need to dodge that much more. Or if he interrupts me, I'm fucked. So he just interrupted my 6-star skill, which sucks. But he's about dead here. There we go, guys. There we go. So I wasn't actually able to clear with tier 1 Elsa. I actually got killed around 400,000 or 300,000 HP. But with the tier 2 one, I was able to clear with just a little bit more kiting and obviously more damage she was doing with her 6-star skill, and the immunity helped a lot because it helped me get other attacks in with my other skills, the 1, 2, 3, and 5. So there you guys have it. That's the clear for Elsa. Elsa is also very, very useful these days. Like now in the game with the new update, Elsa is very, very useful for the extreme mode here on round 7, which is speed and hero. So I highly recommend that if you can tier 2 your Elsa, that you strongly consider it. She's one of the best tier 2 heroes, if not the best. And the most like viable for that mode, so I strongly recommend it. As well, guys, if you're wondering where to get Elsa's bios, you can get them from speed selectors, but if you do play Villain Siege, which I hope you're clearing it every day, you can use those chaos tokens to get Elsa's bios. Unfortunately, I realize that this video is coming out in the wake of the pumpkin event, the Halloween event being over. As well, you could spend your Halloween tokens on Elsa's bios. Probably not the best way to spend your bios though, because we had a tier 2 ticket and the 5 and the 6-star rank up tickets, but it's worth saying, worth mentioning. Anyways, so yeah, you want to use the bios, you want to use your chaos tokens to get Elsa's bios to get her up to 6 stars, and then to get her to tier 2 if you really need a speed tier 2 character. She's my only one other than Ant-Man right now, and probably if I could go back in time, I would have tier 2'd her before Ant-Man, although her tier 2 came out a lot lot of time after Ant-Man's, but you know, it's kind of hindsight is 2020. So there you guys have it for the review, guys. Let me know what you think of Elsa. Let me know who you want to see next, and of course, guys, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.